Kirby of the Stars is just, or Hoshi no Kirby Kabi is that's just the name of the original game.
Yeah, in Europe it's Kirby's Adventure Wii. Also.
All right, so until I can get your co-commentator in, I'm going to be here to sort of bounce things off of you. So.
Okay. So we'll start here in World 1. As in many Kirby games, there's like the grass world. You're going to see through this level only that he's going to use this slide attack to move instead of running or something. It's because it's faster to do this slide attack than running, but it's also a little bit hard. Now he's getting the cutter ability to make the slide attack again until he gets fire, which he will be using until he gets the opportunity to use one thing that is common in the Kirby games, that is the mix thing that I will explain when it appears. Also, these things that are like those little spheres, they are not collected in this game, so we are not going to see like special dimensions that has this game. With this guy, this short guy gives you an ultra ability, which basically lets you. Oh, he got wing ability.
We got it
at first.
All right,
he basically.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry.
He basically kind of do a pause buffer, but instead of using the pause button, he used the home button because he can see what he is stopping at, so he can buffer an input, so he can stop the mix.
All right. So the mix happens when you eat several enemies at a time, right?
Yeah. Normally, with 2 enemies, you can just get the mix.
All right.
This is the basic movement of the game that you're going to be watching all the time. That is doing this kind of dash attack in the air. Also, as in the way we have like stairs and slopes and something. Here he's going to use a dive attack, which would let him get a little bit of height, like that one, so he doesn't lose that momentum of the attack. Also, there's nothing really interesting going on. He can skip getting like items, like I don't know, some boots that they put there, and one kind of hornet that shoots like bullets or something. You can just basically go throughout the game with wing and just go.
So let's talk about backup strats just in case. So if in the unlikely event that he gets hit and loses his wing, where can you get it again?
Basically he would have to wait till World 5, I guess. Or he could go to 1-4, the stage 4 of World 1, and get to a room, but that would be really slow. So he can just get fire, the fire ability, and just go through the game as if it were with wing. Fire it's kind of the same. It's not the same speed as wing, obviously. It's faster to use the wing attack, but fire, it's okay to use for movement.
All right. So, just to give everybody a little bit of perspective, how many different stages and levels are in this game, or that they'll have to do?
It depends on the world. Some worlds have like 4 stages per world. Some of them have 5, and some of them, there's one only that has 3 stages. That is the last world, and also there's like this special world that is basically the final boss. So it would be like 7 worlds, and then the final boss stage. So I think they are like 40 something. I can check it. Also for the bosses or mini bosses, well, for the bosses and the mini bosses, he's going to use what you have seen, using that dive attack all the time, like doing like a circle all the time, because it's the like the most damage that you can do with wing. Also, wing is not the ability that deals the most damage. As we will see at the end of the run, he will use another ability, but I will keep it. Oh, he lost. Oh, he almost lost it. Also, he has to be very careful in later levels where there is water, because he can lose the wing ability if he gets hit by an attack.
Okay.
Ooh.
So we're still working our way through this level in a pretty quick fashion. There's some pretty intricate movements, it looks like, here. So, mostly you're gonna be, dashing upward or sideways with this wing ability. How much, how long does it take generally to get this movement down?
Wow, that's if you see very wisely, he almost doesn't lose height after each of the dashes. That's basically super difficult to get at that point, because like there's like a really small window to get that. If you played, I don't know if you have played ever Kirby Planet Robopod, then you would have experienced that you lose a lot of height, but he managed to keep that height a lot of on the way.
All right, so at the end of the stage there, you see him doing a bonus game, it looks like, and he's intentionally getting the worst possible outcome, yes?
Yeah.
Because it's way faster.
Yeah, it's way faster, because first, if you go really high, you lose time because you are traveling to that height, and also you're losing time because if you get like the toppest score, then you're rewarded with stars that are like coins, so you can get lives and those things. So it's very slow to to do that. Also, if you've seen, it's the same minigame as in Kirby's Dream Land, the first one that you get on the cloud. So it's kind of funny that they got back that. Also, talking a little bit about the plot of this game, you basically see this guy that shipwrecked in Dreamland. There is this guy that we will see at the end of the game that he's not as peaceful. So I will not spoil that until that happens. Also, here you can see like little rooms. Those are challenges. So they are required for the 100%, but he obviously is not going to do it.
All right, so it looks like we have managed to finally get our other commentator in. It's not his fault. It's ours. So don't worry about that. So we are joined now by the Shades. How are you doing, the Shades?
Doing fantastic. Sorry about that, folks. Glad to be here.
All right, so I'm going to let you guys handle it from here.
Okay. So you hear words that there are a lot of slopes. He can just do the dash attack and go through the slopes, and he doesn't lose any time.
Yeah, as we mentioned already, using this wing form, he's going to blaze right through a lot of this. So he's just going to glide right on through. In fact, I'd be surprised if he picks up any other power-ups along the way.
Yeah, a really cool thing about Wing is that while he is doing that dash attack, you can see that he can go through boulders. He can just go through everything because he has invincibility frames. So it's faster because of that. Every time he does like a dive or a dash or something. Also, the candies gives you a little bit more of a speed, not too much, but a little bit more. So we can, if they are offered to us, we can we get them, and we go with the wing.
Yeah, and of course, once we reach the end of the stage, of course, we saw earlier that he just does a quick thing. Normally you would want to go all the way to the top to get the max amount of stuff.
Yeah.
Point, but for a speed run like this, you just want to get to the first one, get it done, and move on to the next stage as quickly as possible.
Yeah, if anyone has watched the Kirby Superstar run, in some of the mini games there are like this mini game that Kirby is like shoot like a bullet. So he tries to get the worst possible. So here it's like that. It's the same in everyone. Also, if you have played, I don't know, Kirby's Quick Squad, we try to press the A button as fast as possible to get shot the fastest possible. So in the Kirby franchise, there's those little things that you would think like it doesn't save too much, but it adds up the faster you finish those mini games.
You can see right here, Kirby just blazing across the water, just not even having to worry about that. Goes straight to the warp star.
I think I'm a little bit behind.
I might be watching the wrong. I actually have the actual RTA stream. I'll switch over to the other one.
Okay, I'm in the RTA in Japan, so okay, I was very behind. Okay.
Yeah, right now I see him climbing up the vertical section here.
Yeah.
Skipped
also
another ultra power as well.
Yeah, that's the good thing about this game, that you can just skip every ultra power. There's just like little gaps or something that lets you go through the level without those.
Yeah, the main reason you would use the ultra powers is to get to the subspace area, which has more of the gear spheres, which obviously we're not getting in this run. So obviously you're going to be skipping right past all of those.
Yeah. In those terms, so in terms of interesting or something, 100% is kind of a little bit more interesting to watch, because you can see most of the power-ups used, and also those little subspace areas. You lose your ability, so you have to go with Kirby only. So it's kind of like play like the older games. So it's really cool.
Yeah, one thing. As you mentioned, one thing about this game is that normally you would this is actually a co-op multiplayer game. Other players can jump in and play as Meta Knight, DDD, and a special Waddle Dee.
Yeah.
But we obviously won't be seeing that here. We're just going to be using Kirby throughout the entire run. But if you use those other characters, DDD has a hammer. Mennonite, of course, has his sword, and the Waddle Dee carries a spear with him, so you kind of have those power-ups at all times.
Yeah, one thing about the most powerful abilities or something, for bosses in like arena runs or something, you would what's in every Kirby game, if I'm not wrong, they use hammer because it's the most powerful. But for this game, as you have to keep your ability because it's more important go through the levels than do the bosses much faster. You can just use wing that is faster too.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't take that long with the wing form to defeat the bosses as opposed to the hammer. Using the dive strats that he's been using thus far, and like you said, going through the levels much more essential. Now, on this level, of course, you got to carry this. No matter what, you have to carry this first key to the locked door because that's how you can progress. But more often than not, if there's keys, we will be picking them up.
Yeah. Also, there are like little crystals that makes you like invisible, that lets you go through like glass walls, and that's the only way to go through those. But we're not going to be seeing that that feature, just basically because that only is useful for getting those gears. Also, here in this type of rooms that is like more shadowed, we are not going to take the candle because we know the path.
Yeah, you're normally supposed to take the candle to not only get to the dark room, but to light the area where the gear is. But again, we're not picking those up. We know our way through. So he's just going to go right here to this water mini boss and just blaze right up. One thing about the Kirby games is that a lot of times they will set you up with certain powers, especially if there's a mini boss. Odds are good that particular power that he's holding is going to come into play for like a special item, like again, a gear in this case, right afterwards. So odds are good you'd want to pick that up if you're playing this casually or if you're doing 100%.
Here are the walls that I've mentioned, and the crystal it was a little bit before.
And there's our next ultra power, the ultra sword. Obviously, we're not picking that up. We're just going to keep blazing right on through.
Yeah, although we are not using these ultra powers in the levels, we are going to be seeing them in like final bosses because it's the only way to kill them. Because of a mechanic that they have that I will explain. That is also interesting how they kill them. So stay tuned.
Yeah, it may seem kind of boring right now because everything's pretty quick and forward, but don't worry, folks. We'll get some fun out of this by the end.
Yeah, it's like in most of the games that we see, the first worlds are like kind of not that interesting because it's like very basic movement. But as soon as we go through later levels, I think right now it comes the water world, that it's kind of like, personally I don't like water levels.
Nobody does.
Nobody does. So they are kind of interesting because he has to keep his eye always not to lose his wing ability, because in the water it's like super easy to lose your power up, and that would cost him a lot.
Exactly. Yeah, in the water it's impossible. If you lose your power up in the water, even if it doesn't get destroyed right away, it's almost impossible to get back because you cannot inhale in the water. You can only spit out water.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to be careful.
Also disappear super quickly, so it's super dumb.
So we just saw him take out that genie boss. Again, pretty straightforward. Just keep using your dive attack, and he just goes down really quickly. And that's another stage down, another part gained.
Another little thing, you see like these parts of this game. I don't know for sure if Japanese it's faster than English or any other language, but I don't think that matters a lot because there are so little boxes, text boxes, so it doesn't really make a big deal.
Now, this isn't like an adventure game or an RPG.
Yeah.
Where you've got a lot of dialogue to deal with. Most of the dialogue's pretty straightforward. And even in between both versions, they usually fit it within one text box. So you rarely have to worry about, scrolling text boxes like that.
It's more about getting good movement and all that stuff than just saving time because of text. If it was like SMS or something like Super Mario Sunshine, because of loading times or something, then okay. But for this one, you can just play with your NTSC-U or your PAL-1.
I gotta love how he's just diving straight down, doesn't even bother going through all the platforming. He just does a dive and goes all the way down really quickly.
Yeah. Normally he will be using that dive to go downwards, but as most of those rooms that go down has like you have to go to the right and left or something like that. It's kind of not the optimal form of going down. So he just lets Kirby fall down.
Yeah. And then on this section here, you can see he's just, again, blazing his way across, ignoring it. You got to be careful of those giant coconuts because if you hit them or if they hit the ground, they will explode. And there is an explosion radius you have to be careful of. But again, as long as you're using your spins, your dives, and your dash strats, it should go right through. And there's our next ultra power for the snowman ability. You would use those to cool off the totem poles and destroy them. But again, not going to be doing that.
Also, one thing about how you can lose your ability, if you touch an enemy, you're kind of knocked back, like you have seen right now, but you don't lose your ability. You lose a little bit of health. But the only way that you can lose your ability is because of like those enemies that have those thorns, or because of boulders that hit you, or because the enemy makes an attack and you are reached with that attack. You will see in some levels here that there are some monsters that come up and try to eat you, and sometimes he damage boost through them, but he doesn't lose the wing ability.
Now, I think the only other way you can lose your ability is after your invincibility frames wear off. There's like a small window where if you get hit again, you can lose your power up. But more often than not, if you're a good player like Yosshi would be, you're not going to let that happen. You're just going to be very careful. But again, you do have to be careful. If you take too much damage frequently, you will lose your power ups that way as well.
Also, watching Yosshi doing the water levels is super interesting because in some of the rooms he goes through so little spaces. I don't know if it's like the hitboxes are super weird or something. He goes through so little spaces. In World 2, he has done a skip of the of one of the gears going like that. And it's basically super precise to go through those spaces.
So here you got a mix of swimming and flying sections, I guess you could say in his case. And here you would normally get that boot and then use it to hammer down a lot of the pegs and destroy a lot of the blocks in order to get to the gears. But again, one more thing, and in casual play, if you get hit and lose your boot, there's several on the way. You want to use them to destroy like those gold blocks and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're kind of like only breakable with the boots or like the hornet or something. That hornet that shoots like bullets. Also, there's one stage, like at the end of the run, that he gets like one hornet that makes like a rainbow over Kirby that he protects protects him from hits. Basically because it's there and it's an auto scroller, so you can just go over there. Here you can see that that thing. He's not touched with the actual attack. The actual attack would be the bite of those enemies, so that's why he doesn't lose the ability.
Exactly. Now you also see those stars floating around. I don't know if you brought this up or not, but normally if you collect 100 of those stars, you'll get an extra life. Obviously, he's not going to go out of his way to collect any of them, but you know, if he gets enough stars to get an extra health life along the way, that's just a little extra safety to make it just in case something bad goes wrong. But again, with a runner as good as Yosshi is, I don't see that happening very often.
Nah, that's basically like coins in most of the 2D Mario games, that if you get just to get lives. But here, obviously, we are not going to see that. Even in 100%, we don't see that because it doesn't gives you anything if you collect like all of the stars of every stage.
No. And then, of course, you know, you've got these particular platforms that go up and down. Some of them will try to squish you. Some of them will try to have spikes on the end. So you got to be careful of those. But not so hard to get through. The Kirby games are designed not to be difficult per se. If you're playing this casually, or if you're doing an 80% speed run, most of the stuff won't even phase you. You'll have no trouble getting through. It's just if you want to do 100%, some of the stuff can become troublesome. That's the way these games work. It's easy for newcomers, but enough of a challenge for your hardcore players to have some fun with it as well.
Yeah, these games casually are, in my personal opinion, they are kind of easy to beat. Like, you don't die like in a Mega Man game or something like that, like a super hard game. But it kind of gives you that. Sometimes it gives you that troublesome because you don't know how to do these combos, like with the wing. Like, you are kind of a starter, so you don't know how to combo that. Also, he couldn't hit Rocky with any attack because he was invincible. So kind of a time lost there.
Yeah, for this section here, you're supposed to just make sure you follow the path, make sure you choose the correct path so you don't get stuck by the blocks. If you go the right way, the blocks will open themselves up for you so that you're going the right direction the whole way through.
Also, these ones are used to keep track to get the spheres. So the first time you play it is like, I don't know where to go to get that sphere. But after playing like sometimes you can finally guess where it is.
For this section, of course, you know, for that first part, you want to stay above the ground so that you can use your wing form. It's a lot faster than swimming, obviously, or walking on the water, which will slow you down immensely. So you're going to see him doing a lot of dash strats, just fly right across and moves on to the next section.
The good thing about wing is that it is good also for vertical movement, because you just kind of just mash A to get super high, and you get there very quickly.
Yeah, that's opposed to the normal. Oh no, he lost his wing form on those. Oh, that's terrible.
No, that's very bad.
Yeah,
he would take fire or something, or maybe he will try to get a mix. I don't know.
This is gonna be painful. You're supposed to use the ultra fire to blast through those walking totem poles. And you can see, like, when he uses his inflate ability to float up, he can still go up, but it's much slower as opposed to the wing form like you mentioned earlier.
Yeah. Also, he would have used the invincible flames of the wing ability just to go through all of them, but he just lost it. It's kind of a shame.
So what he's going to do now is he's going to actually go back to the first stage
Yeah.
and pick up his wing form again, because it's much easier to get it here than it would be to try to find it elsewhere or try to use the mix ability. So he's just
going to go to 1-4 because there's one room called Hull Room where there is just the wing ability. I think there's every ability on the game, so you can just get the wing ability. So he gets fire. As you can see, it's kind of the same, but it's kind of less.
The fire ability allows you to travel faster horizontally, but it doesn't give you any vertical.
Yeah.
That's the difference. And here's the room you were talking about earlier. We go right here. There's the wing form. And then you can just exit right out and get right back on track. So a little bit of a time loss, but not super severe.
A good thing about Kirby games is that even if you haven't finished the level, you can exit the level with the ability that you have. So you don't waste time having to beat the game, beat the entire level. As some games like Yoshi's Island DS, for example, that if you want a baby out of the level, you have to beat the level entirely. So I think in my town they're going to shoot fireworks.
Oh, so lovely!
So if you listen something like boom all the time, don't be worried.
No, not a problem.
Or they just shot only one, and that's it.
I get that every once in a while too, but now this section you got to be very careful of these spikes, because, like you mentioned earlier, any kind of spiked platforms like these, you got to be very careful because they can take your ability immediately. So he has to be very careful flowing through there. But thankfully, he gets through without any trouble.
Yeah. So one little interesting thing about this game is that some power-ups like hammer or the spear, they can be used on these levels. You can still use them to attack or something, but some of them they just don't. They don't appear.
Ooh, he's cutting. You can see right here, he's cutting very close, cutting right there between those spikes.
That's what I was referring to.
Yeah, like
extremely close.
Yeah, you would never catch me doing that.
Nah. Normally you would wait until the ball goes.
And of course, here you basically you open these up, and then it's Indiana Jones time because you got to outrun that spike ball.
Yeah.
Or it's more Indiana Jones swimming style. So, but still, I think this applies.
Okay, so I think that's it. He just goes down with dive. These were the ones that I was referring, that you have to go down and left and right and then right down again. So you just don't do the dive attack, you just press down again. So Kirby goes like it just speeds a little bit more, but not too much.
Yeah. Now in that last room, you're normally supposed to take the bombs to blow up those golden bricks in order to get to the items underneath, either be stars or another sphere. Obviously, again, don't be using that. So, but he's just going to swim through. Watch out for those giant eels that come out. Gotta love those Inagi.
Another thing, it was about Kirby and the Amazing Mirror, I think. They introduced a new mechanic that was the life bar. Also here we have that. we are not very aware of being killed because of life, but you kind of have that in mind if you get a lot of damage boost or something. And also there are like food everywhere in every level, so you can just refill your life with the food.
Yeah, and if another cool thing is that this a mechanic that's been around since Kirby Superstar is that if you do have a co-op play involved, if you eat some food,
oh yeah, it was,
and then
Kirby Superstar.
Yeah, you move in, you get close to your partner, you will share the health.
Yeah.
It kind of looks like they're kissing, but it's more akin to like a mama bird feeding its kin is more what they were probably going for, but it doesn't.
Yeah,
didn't quite work out that way.
Well, one thing about bosses that we haven't talked about is that there's always two phases of the enemies. Like the first one is like kind of the easy one, and then the other one is like more powerful, and it's a little bit tougher to get down the life. This one in particular, it's a bit harder because it is just too big.
Yeah, it takes up the entire vertical vertically it takes up the entire screen. The horizontal is pretty same size, but it makes it a lot harder to do that dive attack. But once again, Yosshi proving why he's got the world record. He just blazes right.
Yeah. He's doing very well, although he lost the wing ability, but well, he's going well.
I don't think he's going to be breaking his world record today, but I think he'll get a good time out of this.
He lost a lot of time making that mistake, but well. If you watch his world record is like just pure movement, and it's basically outstanding.
I watched a little bit of it right before the other day to prep up for this commentary. Yeah, it's just amazing how he just blazes through everything. Like, you just imagine what he's been doing this entire race, but with almost pretty much no mistakes. It is incredible. You definitely need to go check that video out if you can.
Yeah, as many of these games, all the videos are in speedrun.com. Although, as this is RTA in Japan and it is a Japanese marathon, most of the runners are not in speedrun.com. They are in the Nico leaderboards, so it's kind of a little bit harder to look for their PBs because most of them doesn't use tweets as many European or American people would do. But you can just basically make an account there and just watch the videos.
Yeah, thankfully Yosshi is not one of them. He does use American uploads. He is on speedrun.com, so he's not hard to find.
Yeah. Normally with games like, I don't know, now because with Super Mario 64, most of them are in speedrun.com, but before they were in Nico leaderboards. And in Pokemon Red and all those, in speedrun.com they made like a separate leaderboard for the Japanese runners, but it's kind of a little bit early to see runs there.
Yeah, understandable. All right, now we're in the ice world. Typical Nintendo thing. Always have to have an ice world somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's Nintendo Ice, which means it's all slippery and slidey.
Yeah.
As opposed to real ice, which
with
is
mechanics. Man, in Yoshi's Island DS it's just awful. I run that game and it's basically awful. They have this penguin enemy that it's basically he has a huge hitbox and it's basically awful. He's the devil.
But yeah, and this is where that wing form is going to really come in handy, because if you didn't have that, you'd be slipping and sliding all over the ice trying to get through here. But with the wing form, he can just blaze right on through like normal, and the ice doesn't even bother him.
Yeah. Also, there's like power-ups like ice that doesn't make just like that mechanic of a slippery, so you can just walk through the ice normally. I think, yeah, in this game there is ice. I think it is. Yeah, there is. Yeah, definitely it is. Oh, there is.
Now you saw that cannon there. The cannon with that, you're supposed to take off like your flame power up and light the cannon, and then pop into it in order to get launched to another area, most likely with a sphere. But we're going to be leaving the cannons alone. Very rarely are you going to be seeing this in play.
Yeah, those will be only played with in a 100% run, so not this case. But I would seriously encourage everyone to see a 100% run because they are very interesting, and also to watch more Kirby games. I sure know that most of the people here have watched almost one run of a Kirby game.
It's like I said earlier, with Kirby games, they're not difficult games, so anyone can play them. If you're gonna get a speedrunning, this would probably be a good game to start with because it's so easy to play. That all you have to do is learn how to master certain skills, and you can just blaze through it, as opposed to other games where you kind of.
For example, Kirby's Dream Land, the first one, it seems like easy, but if you want like a little bit, like under 13 minutes or something, it's like super difficult. I've experienced that, and man, it is also horrible because there's a lot of lag, and well, myself, I don't enjoy it a lot, but it's a good speed game to start because it's kind of like a 15 minutes run, so it's kind of a good taste of how speedrunning works. And also, if anyone loves a game and he hasn't seen any run of that game, just go ahead and do your own routes or something. That's a good thing about the speedrunning.
Yeah, you can speedrun pretty much any game you want. I mean, there's games that you wouldn't think could be speedrun, and they are done. There are speedruns on them out there. It's crazy. Also, we didn't mention that the Bonkers mini boss that we saw earlier was actually an Ultra Bonkers.
Yeah, it was Ultra Bonkers. Yeah, for Bonkers, he is always a boss. Although with Ultra Sword, Ultra Snow, and Ultra Lightning, they are not bosses. But with that, no. Yeah, Fluffy, you can. There are speedruns of Solitaire, surely.
I think part of me thinks that was a joke, but yeah, there's probably actually Solitaire out there.
Yeah, I'm not joking. There would be because there's of Minesweeper. There are speedruns of Minesweeper, and you see it's like 10 seconds. It's like what?
Yeah, exactly. And to answer another question in chat, the first Kirby game you'd think would be the easiest, but bear in mind that the first Kirby's Dream Land game did not have copy abilities.
Yeah.
So that would not exactly be. I would say Kirby's Adventure would probably be the easiest.
Yeah, maybe in Nightmare in Dreamland because it doesn't have lag, but well.
Yeah, that's true.
Also, you have seen here like he entered the water using the dash of the wing, and he kept the wing ability in the water, and also he got a boost when he get out of the water. So that's a little optimization that he can do to save some frames, as every frame matters. Yeah, Kirby's Adventure surely is a really good game for the NES. It's just very huge. What did I watch?
Takes that damage boost there, flying past all those bird enemies, and of course the Gordos. Everyone's favorite enemy, the Gordos, unkillable and never fun. Always a pain in the butt to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah, as Blizzaga has said, Kirby 64 is very slow. Also, Kirby's Dream Land 3, it's very slow compared to all of the others. Even Kirby's Dream Land 2 is faster.
Yeah, well, especially if you want 100% Kirby's Dream Land 3, because there's a lot of side questing you have to do to get all of the star pieces, which is
and there's also a lot of RNG based, because I think you need to carry all of the animals or the partners. So some of them are RNG, like the blue blob or something.
Exactly. Now for this section, you have the ultra snow, which turns you into a giant snowball, which you can see we use like a bowling ball to knock over those pins. That's how you would get through that part to get to the subspace area.
But as you can see, there's a little bit of space between the bowling and the ceiling, so you can just go through with wing.
Oh, got a little extra height on that one, so he's going to get a little extra time lost there because you got to wait for the UFO to drop off the stars. Thankfully, it's not too high, so he's not going to get a lot, but that's still, you know, again, like you said, every frame counts.
I don't know if he has done it because of a joke or something. I don't know. As in many marathons, sometimes some attitudes are for sharing something. So as we don't understand Japanese myself, I don't know if he has said something like, I'm going to show something or something like that.
Who knows? So again, we're just it's weird. It's weird because a lot of this commentary is just he's just blazing on through using the air dash. I mean, that's the majority of what this speedrun's going to be, is a lot of air dashing, a lot of diving, a lot of, you know, quick movement. Because again, unless you're doing a 100% run, there's really not much to do.
Yeah, the last two worlds are a little bit more interesting because there are some cycles that you can get, but it's almost everything. The whole run is basically the same. Again, here with the shadow room, the dark room. Sorry.
It's all right. Yeah, going through the dark room, skipping the candles because he already knows his way through very clearly, so he doesn't need to see his way around, and he can just blaze right on through. Yeah. Picks up the key because this is another locked door that you have to have the key to progress. So you got to be very careful of these guys who normally very docile, but if you hold the key or if you attack them once and don't kill them, they'll become very aggressive and chase after you.
Yeah. One little thing that you have seen there, he has a slide. He has done the slide attack when he could, because if he has done it in before steps, he would have fallen down. So it's kind of a little bit of optimization there.
So now we've got our next boss, this Yeti.
Yeah.
But again, you know.
Yeah, 2 phases, quickly dive jumps, all those things. It could be a little bit more. It could make a little bit more of trouble because he goes around a little bit, but not too much.
Yeah, now in this phase, a little more aggressive, bumps around, but again, just keep doing your dive attacks.
Yeah.
And then watch out, watch out for his Kamehameha wave there.
Yeah. But as there are invincibility frames, you are not like very scared of that. Because also in the dive attacks, there's invincibility frames. So sometimes at the start of the run, there was a part that he did a dash attack, like the air dash, and then a dive jump to extend those invincibility frames.
Now he'll attach the next piece there, which looks like a wrestling belt, if I've ever seen one. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that doesn't look like a championship belt. Of course, another talk. I forget the guy's name, but spoiler warning, that guy's actually the main villain of the game.
Yeah.
One of the common things about this game is that there's always a secret final boss. Because Kirby, even though he's trying to do the right thing, he always ends up doing it for the wrong reason, or ends up doing the wrong thing, and ends up causing more trouble than he solves. Even in Kirby's Dreamland, he's collecting all the star rods, and what ends up happening is he ends up freeing the nightmare. Congratulations, Kirby, you're an idiot.
Also in this game, as Kirby, as King Dedede is like a partner. You can play with him. You don't fight against him. So I think it's one of the few games that you don't fight against King Dedede.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is that DDD technically is a villain, but he's not really. More often than not, he's trying to stop Kirby from making a big mistake after the first game. The first game, he's clearly a villain. Yeah. But after that, he's kind of more of I wouldn't even say an anti-villain. Like he's in your way, but more often than not, he's trying to stop you from making an even bigger mistake than he's actually trying to cause himself. Yeah.
For example, in Kirby Squad, in the first world, he's a boss, but then you realize that he isn't the villain. It is the mouse, which are the villains. And also in Kirby's Dreamland 2, I guess, he is the villain, but he's how it is said, he's kind of possessed by Nightmare. So there are two endings. If you get like the star rod parts, all the star rod parts, then you can fight against the Nightmare and get the best ending.
That's kind of the typical for most of the Kirby games, is that once you collect all of the hidden items, you fight the true final boss, which is usually a form of Nightmare.
Yeah.
But we won't be seeing that here. We won't be seeing the final boss here. We're going to be going up to, I think we go up to the dragons, and then we're going to be ending it at that.
Yeah, we defeat the dragons, and then we have an auto scroller, and then the fight. Also in this world, we are going to see the potential of wing as a form of vertical movement. Also, not in this one, in this stage, I think, maybe in later ones. But it's in this world where we see the potential.
Here we go. Here's where we're going to see it come up. You can just click. Climb up the ladders isn't that slow, but with the wing form, it's even faster. So once again, the wing form really showing its potential. It is truly a broken power up when it comes to speedrunning, because you can just blaze through so many areas so fast.
Also, for stairs, you want to jump off of them, because it's a bit faster than just machine A. But wow, those little bit optimizations that kind of saves time, but if you don't do it optimally, then you lose time.
There's our next ultra power, the electric power up.
Yeah.
Or not electric,
lightning, I think it is.
Beam, actually.
Oh, yeah. Beam. That's
the one. But again, not going to be needed here. Just got to fly through where you need to, use the cannons to get to certain areas, and then you're good to go.
But as we said, we will see them used in the final boss. So don't be worried. They will be used.
You'll get to see them by the end, folks. So if you're looking to see those cool ultra powers in action, another thing that makes this faster is that when you get those ultra powers, there's a cutscene that shows them gaining the power, and then the first time you use their big attack, they do this big dramatic cutscene to show it off.
Yeah,
because you've got to have that spectacle to it. Yeah. So that eats up a lot of time.
Yeah, they are very, very slow. So in 100%, you would use those attacks only when you would need them to open that subspace dimension. So because if you use the attack, you lose the time of the cutscene. So.
Well, it doesn't use the full cutscene every time, but it does take a while. They do a huge windup for all the big attacks, so you do want to use those sparingly.
So here they're talking about the length of 100%. 100% is like, I believe it's the world record. It's by Demolition 14, and it's 2 hours 41 minutes. So it's kind of like an hour longer than this. Obviously, because in 100% not we get the spheres. There are more battles against these sphere doomers, and also we have those challenges in the ship that we have to beat. So
yeah, that takes up a lot more time.
Yeah, obviously.
So obviously, by skipping all that, we cut down, to cut down a full hour of gameplay just simply by skipping all that. That tells you how much of a difference this makes.
Yeah, it's seen in most of the games of everywhere. If you play any percent or 100%, it's like there's a huge difference between those. Even in the routes, something is like it isn't nearly as equal. Here, let me see. I think okay. In this one, no, but in the next level, we will be watching a kind of a mini boss rush on a huge tower. So basically, here we are going to be abusing the wing ability, just going up, just smashing two. Also, this game can only be played with the Wii Remote sideways. So you use it's kind of like the Game Boy controls that you use your D-pad and your 1 and 2 button. The 2 button to jump and the 1 button to do the attacks. So
yeah, basic NES Game Boy controls. Nothing too That's the thing about Nintendo is they like to be very simple with their control schemes. They don't like to be too, they don't want to have a 20-button controller scheme like a lot of other consoles tend to. They want to keep it simple because the fun comes from learning how to use those simple controls to make some complex mechanics. And this is one of those games that really showcases that.
Yeah, and give the games with like the possibilities of doing a lot of different moves for every ability. Each ability having its unique attack. It's really, really, really interesting. Also in games like Yoshi's Island, if you ever watched a run of Yoshi's Island 100% and you've seen like Trihex doing a run, he's like mashing through the controller.
Here comes that boss rush you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
You just go through each room in the tower, collect the power-ups as you need them. And of course, you would use the mini boss abilities to get the gears, the spheres in these areas.
I think Blocky is the most Blocky. No, it's called another name, but he is like he is the one that gives you the rock ability, and he's the most annoying because sometimes he does this attack where he gets invincibility frames. I think here comes the UFO one, if I'm not wrong.
You are correct. It is the UFO.
Yeah.
This used to be one of my favorite power-ups in the older games because this one, perfect flight abilities plus beam attacks, really fun to play with. But again, for speedrunning, it's not really that useful because he does kind of go slow. So again, sticking with the wing, which even if its debut in Kirby Superstar was an OP power-up, but now it's even more so.
Yeah. Also, he was really kind, the UFO enemy, because normally he would teleports sometimes, so he got a little bit of good RNG.
But now it's once again boss time.
Yeah. Here it is. I don't remember the one here. Which one it was? Oh, here it's the. Okay, so we have been talking about subspace dimensions. We're going to see like the big version of those bosses on those dimensions. Here's like the sphere, like the biggest sphere doomer.
Yeah, this is a more advanced version of the bosses you would normally fight in the subspace areas. This is like the king of them, I guess you could say.
Yeah. At first, the first time I played this game, I thought this was the final boss, and then plot twist. I was like, yes, I beat it, and then flash. So here is one of the mechanics that we were talking about. This health bar of the boss can only be destroyed with ultra powers, and also he's going to try to keep the wing ability. So in this game is the only game I think that you can do that such thing of keeping the star above you, so he doesn't lose the wing ability.
It's tricky to do.
Yeah, it's really difficult. It seems easy because he's doing it very, very well, but it's really tricky.
You can see he lets go of it immediately before he attacks. And then before he finishes jobs, reabsorbs the wing form to do that final blow since he's now vulnerable. Could not have asked for a better fight with that one.
Yeah. So here we have repaired the starship. So we go to the kingdom of this little blue guy that from now it doesn't seem very bad, that bad guy, but we will see later in the game. He's like, yeah, we have recovered all the parts and the ship parts.
I'll give Nintendo credit. Like a lot of games, you can tell immediately when someone's got malevolent intent. But when I first played this game, I had no clue that guy was going to be the final. Could not. They made it so hard to tell, which is very impressive.
Yeah. To be a platformer game and have that kind of a plot twist, it's really cool.
Now, a lot of games, you see a guy who's saying, "Hey, I want to help save my world," and you can tell immediately, you're lying, man. You're clearly the bad guy here.
Yeah.
This game, you cannot tell at all.
Yeah. For example, in Pokemon Rangers Shadows of Almia, you kind of imagine like one of the professors of the school, Ranger School, is the bad guy, but it was like I don't know. But then he is one of the captains of the bad team, and it's like wow, he was like very, very bad.
Now, this part, not only do you have to be careful of the enemies, but of course we got to be careful of all these different power-ups, which we do not want. Well, those are the sleep power-ups.
Yeah. They not only makes you lose the wing ability, they are like, I don't know, maybe
they're basically a death trap because it puts you to sleep, and considering those are falling platforms, it is you could easily die if you grab those power ups by mistake.
Yeah.
Because you cannot control how long you're asleep for. You can't stop yourself from falling asleep, so you're almost guaranteed to fall off the platforms if you get hit with this.
Oh my god, this movement, it's so close.
So clutch. And then, of course, he grabs the lollipop, which grants you temporary invincibility, so you can just run right through these guys.
Yeah.
And even if you don't have the invincibility frames, you can immediately kill half these guys, so it's very helpful.
It also gives you a little bit of speed, so that's worthy to get the candy. So normally, you've seen like all these enemies has like little stars. That's what
it's what tells you what. It tells you that you can use the ultra powers to destroy them. That basically anything that has a star on it, when you have an ultra power, can be destroyed with said ultra power. That's usually how it works.
Yeah, here you can see how he did the air dash and then the dive jump to go through the group of 3 enemies, so he gets like more invincibility frames. Now here comes oh wait, not here. Oh yes, here. Here there's a lot of
spikes. Jeez, I would never bring to do that.
That's one thing that it seems like why he's doing that. That's something that you would never do in a casual playthrough because they are spikes. They're going to hit you. But as there are invincibility frames, that then you can do. You just go there.
Now, if I remember correctly, you're actually supposed to get the water power up from those water droplets in order to cool down the lava here, which would allow you to traverse through and of course grab the items. But sometimes you don't even think about it. You wouldn't think those little water drops would give you a power up, but they do.
Also, as Kirby flies without any power up, you can just be like flying over those fire things.
And of course, here's one of the few areas where he did have to wait the cycle out, but he uses his damage push to get past those Gordos.
Yeah. Unless those like kind of cheap chips doesn't have like an attack, you can just damage boost freely. Very nice.
Get another. Now you're supposed to use the mic ability, which allows you, which is basically a screen nuke, a 3-time screen nuke to get past those enemies without too much trouble. But again, wing form, just fly right through them. On this way to another battle with the UFO mini boss.
Mm-hmm. It's really interesting how he chains all those dive jumps all the time, like one and another and another and another, really fast. Ooh, that was tight. Wow, really good cycle. Okay, here in the chat they are talking about a lot of games that uses motion controls. Also in this game there are motion controls. If you are inhaling and you move your Wiimote, then you are inhaling stronger, so you can get blocks that are bigger. But that's only seen in those subspace areas where you don't have any power up, so you have to deal with that.
Nope, that is not going to be an issue for us, thankfully. But yeah, if you're doing 100%, you want to make sure you know how to do that properly. But you can see here I'm using both the wind, slides, and air dashes, just completely breeze through that area.
Also, those platforms.
Oh, that was close.
Oh, yeah, I'm a little bit behind. I will restart a little bit. Okay.
Now we're gonna have 2 mini bosses. We're gonna have the giant Waddle Doo and the Rocky there. So gotta take out both of them, unfortunately. Oh, takes another hit there.
Don't lose it.
Yep, he got it. He got it.
Okay.
Takes out the Waddle Doo. And there goes Rocky.
Rocky. Okay. It's very scary. He is very low in health.
Yeah, he's going to have to be very careful from here on out. He doesn't want to die, because if you die, you're going to lose that power up, and he's going to have to move all the way back to World 1 to get that wing form again. He doesn't want to lose that.
Here you would use that switch, but it's basically faster to go there. Oh my god, he's super low in health.
Thankfully, this area here, you can just, he doesn't have to worry about too much here, because this is supposed to be where you have an ultra power up.
Yeah.
So you can just breeze right on through.
Yeah. Normally you're watching, like, there are some rooms that are super small, that are basically the room where the final door is. It is basically because you would have to do some really bad stuff really huge stuff to get to the subspace dimension, and then you go to the other room to just finish the level.
Here we have another dark room. Again, we know our way through. Got a little bit of health there, so that makes it easier. Oh, and even managed to slip past that enemy without getting hit. That's pretty good.
The first one, before he enters the dark room, he would have tried to do the same, but he just wasn't that fast. Ooh.
And now we've got another
mini boss.
Another mini boss, Sir Kobo or Kobo. But no problem there.
Okay. You've seen that after we defeat a mini boss, he hits again the mini boss. That makes like the death of the mini boss faster, so you can move the screen before.
Yeah, the boss stays there for a little bit because you're intended to inhale them and get their copy abilities. But if you leave them alone for a minute, they'll explode on their own. But if you hit them, it kills them automatically, so it saves you a little bit of time there.
So close there.
Oh, geez, so clutch.
Man. It is really good that Nintendo did these kind of parts of the stages where there's like a lot of speed throughout the water.
Yeah,
they make a little bit more interesting.
Yeah, a lot of currents you can just speed right on through. It's almost like Nintendo, ever since Super Metroid, especially, they've kind of encouraged speedrunning their own games with all these different kind of mechanics.
Yeah, they're definitely very speedrunnable. Most of their games are very kind to be speedrunnable, except like games like, for example, the Spirit Tracks. It's kind of very hard to speedrun because it's very long because of the train parts and that, but it's also interesting to watch. All those tricks with the touchscreen, and so also all the glitches stuff occurring of time.
Oh.
Here is a little bit of autoscroller. He can't do anything to speed this up, so he just stands where he doesn't get crashed.
Yep. You're supposed to, the only trick with that one is you're supposed to get that sphere.
Yeah.
Once in that last one, but again, we're not getting that, so we're just gonna blaze right on through here.
There are some things that you've seen, like starting the air dash is kind of a little bit weird because he sometimes doesn't get it at the first time he is in the air, basically because he has to touch 2 times the way he wants to go, right or left. And in the Wii mode, it's a bit hard because the path control is a little bit weird.
And you can see here that you're supposed to go down into those little pits to avoid the Gordos, but with the invincibility frames of the wing form, you can just pass right on through.
Yeah, also you can go through fireballs, cannons, everything, basically. Everything but walls.
And here comes our third auto-scroller.
Yeah.
This one you got to actually continually climb up the platforms as they fall as well.
Yeah. Hopefully this game doesn't have that much auto-scroller, so it's really nice on that.
Yeah, nobody, even casual players don't like those kind of auto-scrolling levels where you have to stay on track. I don't know why. Nintendo keeps putting those in there, and I never know why.
Yeah. It's kind of like, please. It's like when you die and you have to replay that level, it's like, no, please.
Exactly.
Why? Normally in Mario games it's more like that because it's like you die because you lose all your lives and boom. Okay, so here in this boss we're going to see Meta Knight, but not the regular one. He's going to be Mecha Knight.
Yeah, it can't be the real Knight because again, in co-op you can actually play.
Yeah.
So you know it's not the real deal.
Yeah, he also makes another appearance in Planet Robobot. mechanite, so it's cool.
Makes sense. You know, that's all about robotics and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What's interesting, you can actually see damage counters there whenever you hit Mechanite.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little RPG mod there.
Yeah.
They did the same. They did something similar in Kirby Superstar. They had like a whole section. They had a whole mini boss where you fought him like an RPG.
Here, kind of a speed strat is to destroy the rocket so he doesn't get out of the out of the screen, so you can hit him all the time. They're saying that there's no music.
They're saying it's still playing the music from Final Fantasy XII, which was the previous game.
I don't know. So, okay, so this is the last world. Also, this is the world that has less levels. There are only 3 levels, and the boss one. So here you can. We are going to abuse those invincibility frames to go through the fire and meteors and boulders and everything. Also here you can see that he's kind of abusing those slopes of the ceiling to go down, so he doesn't have to kind of fall down and then do the air dash. So that's kinda a good strat.
And we have another mini boss here, though this time we have the added fun of a cannon constantly shooting you. But thankfully, you know, again, with the invincibility frames, not an issue. And then it's just a matter of watching out for the lava there.
Yeah, you would normally get the water ability, so you can just go through the fire, but the wing ability is just very fast.
We want to go through it safely, to want to go through it fast. If you're a speedrunner, you want to do it fast.
So. And every frame count. Every frame counts.
And there's our snow power again. And now we got flaming bowling pins. We've got lava bowling pins. And I believe there's also a snowman at the end. Which, how the heck does a snowman survive in this kind of environment? I will never understand.
He's also used to destroy a volcano at the end of the level to get to another subspace level, and also the subspace. This volcano. Also, the subspace levels gets very hard in these levels. As it is later words, these ones are very hard because also you don't have power-ups. So, and also the left side of the screen kind of follows you, so it makes it harder. Here is another auto-scroller, so you can basically do nothing here.
Yeah, pretty much. You just got to ride the elevator. Make sure. Again, these are the kind of auto scrollers I can never understand why people keep making auto scrollers like this. Nobody likes them. Nobody wants them, and yet they keep doing them. Why?
Yeah. I remember in New Super Mario DS, in one tower, there's one like this that is basically kind of exactly the same. The same mechanic of the boulders coming out, and you have to avoid them. Well. You can just swag about a little bit here. Hopefully it's only that section of this level. Here you have to go through cycles, so I don't remember if there was like a super fast cycle or something. I think I heard something about that, but not too much.
No, you just kind of have to go through.
Yeah.
This part here, you kind of just have to hope you can get in before the next block.
Yeah.
The cycles aren't that big apart, so you can get through pretty quickly. But it's, you know, if you get there just a little too late, you have to wait for the next one.
Kapow, Robobot doesn't have this type of auto-scrollers, I think, but he has the Jet Robobot ability that it's basically auto-scrollers. So
I think I saw a couple of levels like that when I was watching Edo Bean play it casually.
Okay, I played this.
There's another part you want to get through as quickly as possible because that ceiling's going to come down on you. But
yeah,
again, we're already going fast, so we don't need an excuse to go fast as we take on another Ultra Bonkers.
Yeah. Again, here we're going to skip the Ultra Hammer ability, so we have to kill this guy because it's a mini boss. So hopefully he explodes very fast, so we don't have to hit him to make him explode. So that saves a little bit of time, letting us set up for the movement.
Yeah, normally what you're supposed to do is you're supposed to use the Ultra Hammer to knock those pegs down to get kind of connect the circuit, but thankfully we don't have to do that here, and we're done.
Yeah. This was 7-2 or 7-3?
I believe that was 2.
That was 2,
one more to go.
Okay, so last level of the game. We have to. There are going to be those like suns coming out, or meteors, or however. But we can just go through them with the wing ability. At least the small and medium size. The big ones we can't go. Oh my god. That's so close.
So clutch. It's driving me nuts.
Yeah.
Again, you would never see, like, that's how you know this guy's a top speedrunner on this game, because he just, you could never, I don't speedrun anyway, but I could never do stuff like that. That's amazing to me.
Yeah. Also, if you touch one of those balls, you lose your wing ability, so it's super risky going for those strats. Although you have practiced a lot of it, you would never, at a starting level, or a beginner level, you wouldn't start doing that. Here you can see like medium-sized, you can go through, but that big one, that would be just impossible to go through.
Yeah, your invincibility frames would run out before you got through that whole thing.
Just go through the lower part of the ball, but not the kind of medium height. Here's
here
what yeah.
Yeah, here's it's another auto scroller. Here you use the horn to basically create that rainbow, which allows the enemies to die instantly.
Yeah.
And then you can just finish up right there, and he's on to another vertical section again. This is where that wing form really shows its stuff, because any other form you can do horizontal speed like the fire ability, but with the wing you can also do vertical, which just makes this a complete piece of cake.
Yeah. Again, Ultra Sword, and we don't use it. Okay. last part of the room, I think.
Of course, all these monsters, which are normally mini bosses, but thankfully you would normally have the Ultra Sword, so you could easily one-shot them, and then you would use them to destroy those jewel pillars to just clear through.
And you would use the sword to cut into the volcano.
But we won't be doing that.
Nah.
Time for some spectacle. Whee!
Yeah. Here there's like super it's a cutscene. You can't do anything basically. It's a cutscene just. It's just a cutscene.
It's just basically a glorified cutscene.
So from here we're going to be changing the ability. We're going to use now the ninja ability because it deals a little bit more of damage than the wing ability. I think it's going to change it, I believe.
Yep.
It's gonna
does a little bit more damage, plus it's a little bit faster, and its attacks a little bit faster, so it gets a much better DPS overall.
Yeah. Also, the most damage you can deal to bosses is with the hammer ability, but you can get the hammer ability for those bubbles, so you just use ninja.
Yeah, it's not worth it to go through the trouble of trying to save a hammer from the last up.
Yeah. It would be slow to get that bunkers that is in that section where there is a lot of mini bosses. Also, I believe that where the position of the dragons are RNG. It is RNG.
But he thankfully got a very good pattern there.
Yeah.
Was able to very quickly kill it. So now we're on to the final fight.
Yeah. Now there's an auto scroller in this like other dimension. You ride this dragon.
Yeah, this is when you find out that our mysterious friend is actually the bad guy, and the dragons were actually the good guys. And they're like, okay, you kind of whooped our butts, but you know what? We realize you goofed, so we'll help you out.
Yeah. So this is like a big auto scroller, but well, it's at the end of the game, and it's kind of like messing around, and you can just chill after a huge difficult run.
Yeah, this is kind of a staple of the Kirby games. Because the last level always ends up being something akin to an auto scroll. Even Kirby's Adventure on the NES had this, when you got used to Star Rod to fight off Nightmare.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a common thing for them.
It is always nice to have this kind of autoscrollers after very big, like very long runs, because it lets you relax your hands a little bit. Although you can mess around and you push your hands way farther.
Yeah, obviously it is an auto-scrolling shoot 'em up, so basically you can't control how fast it goes. But thankfully, you get an awesome weapon with the dragons and their sharp shots to basically clear through enemies like they're nothing. Yeah,
a little kind of boosting that he can get is at the end of this part. He is going to try to be at the closest to the right of the screen, so he gets to the loading zone earlier. But well, that's a bit risky also, because you can just be hit with a lot of these huge things.
These giant crystals are really hard to avoid. Again, normally you would lay back and try to time your movements to get around them, but here he doesn't have to do that.
Yeah, here it is. So here it comes the first phase, or if you call it a boss before the actual final boss. That is the starship. You have
But now
repaired it, and now you have to destroy it.
Yeah, now you put it all together, and now it's turned evil, so you have to blow it up.
Yeah,
It's all black and stuff.
yeah. It's also very precise to charge, getting those charge shots. I believe if you see Yossi on the cam, he's just like shaking the Wiimote, because if you shake the Wiimote, you charge earlier the shots.
And that was very
then-
clever. Get right behind,
yeah.
get right underneath and behind it, so you can get a shot, even though it's
Yeah,
behind you.
he
Normally, you're supposed
uses he uses the dodge attack, kind of, to hit him when he's behind. So here there's neither the hammer ability, so you have to go with ninja. So here comes the first phase of Magalor, I think it is called.
sounds about right. Something close to that.
Magalor or Malagor? No, Malagor, no, Magalor, I think it is.
Which is just, given the cape and everything, it's just basically another nightmare. They just gave it a different coat of paint.
Yeah. Here you only have to go to the left or right, so you are not like I don't know what is the verb, like sucked. Yeah, you're not sucked to the. It's if you end up on that. If you end up sucked, I think you have to go to a dimension level to escape, I believe. I don't
That's
remember.
right,
But,
yeah.
yeah.
But instead, you're going to avoid that. Instead, uses the ultra powers. Once again, you got to
Yeah.
use the ultra forms to break the shield that he's got up.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. He's trying to hit. He's doing the attacks as soon as he's on that same part of the 2.5D thing. So normally he's going. The boss is going to the back and to the front. So he's kind of timing when he's on the front. So he attacks him as soon as he is in the front. So here's where we see basically most of the ultra powers. He had a little bit of bad RNG. Okay. Oh, that was very early. Okay, so this is the first phase. So there's one more phase left. There is it doesn't have these phases with ultra abilities. It's just hit him all the time.
that smile is creepy.
You just see it's kind of a Kirby. Kind of like a Meta Knight. A little bit.
Sort of, though. Or if you're like me and have played Undertale, that's Kara's face if I've ever seen it.
I don't remember correctly, but I think there are one.
Time.
And that's time. There are one attack that he can one shot you, I think, or he can deals like half of the damage. I don't know.
So that was Kirby Return to Dreamland.
Yeah, we've made it through.
Yeah, and he didn't do too bad. 139.55.
Yeah,
Pretty
it was a
decent
really
time.
good run. To be a marathon run, like being almost 3 minutes out of the world record, it's really good. So I hope everyone has enjoyed this one. And now it comes a game that I think is about baseball.
Yeah, so thank you both, the Shades and Vicino, for your commentary. Sorry it took us so long to get you in there, the Shades.
All right, man.
Nah,
Hey,
it doesn't matter.
I got here late enough that I didn't miss out on too much, and I had fun with this.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, thank you both for this. For those of you just tuning in, this is the RTA in Japan Marathon, showcasing some of the best in Japanese speedrunning. And this will be running until Sunday morning here on the Speed Gaming Network. Make sure to give the runner a follow and give the Speed Gaming Network a follow for all of your speed gaming needs. At this time, the next run is Yu-Gi-Oh! Powerful Pro Yakyu 8, which would be Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know what that means. I think it's like a name. Powerful Pro Baseball 8. I don't know what this is about. I don't know what the speed run's about. But there's baseball involved.
Batter up.
All right.
Okay.
So at this time, I'm going to want to bring in my next commentator for that. So thank you to the Shades and Vicino for that commentary. And we'll see you guys later.
Thank you. And as always, I always like to say, rock on, guys.
It's been a pleasure to be here. Thank you to the Speed Gaming channel doing this and giving this opportunity to me. This was the first time that I've been commentating in a marathon, so it was kind of an experience.
Same for me, my friend.
All right. Thank you both.